Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Pedro. I'm here to talk about cryptocurrencies and to discuss a little bit about my startup company, Bityond. But the focus of this presentation will be mainly on cryptocurrencies, how they work, and what's the purpose of cryptocurrencies. Let me just move a little bit forward. I hope you like it, the Bitcoin going up and down. This is a feature, I think, not a bug from Bitcoin. All right, so cryptocurrency. What we'll be discussing today, first will be what is money. Then I'll be discussing organization structure, both in terms of governance and infrastructure. We'll move into digital peer-to-peer money, which is where the blockchain and Bitcoin exist. Afterwards, we'll then speak about the blockchain. I will give 2 examples about network innovation and smart or dumb networks, which one might be better, so that you can, implement better innovation. Well, you can easily adapt new innovation, new developments to your projects. Afterwards, and we'll speak about different types of DLTs, which are distributed ledger technology with economic incentives, so blockchain technology. So the first question that I would like to ask you is, well, not a question, is just so that you to think about what is money, what's the purpose of money, okay? And if you look at the smiley apple over there, and I ask you, which currency would you rather choose to pay for the apple? Probably you need to maybe think for a while, you need to check your phones to see how much each currency is worth in euros, right? Because that's the only language that you know. So this is what I want you to understand. In my opinion, money is just a language. It's a way for us to be able to communicate value to each other. It has other purposes, as you can see there. So the 2 main purposes for me are a means of transmitting value and storing value. And there are a set of conditions that we need to respect in order for something to be money. So people need to trust each other, and they need to trust the currency. They also need to agree on prices. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to buy the apple, or you might be able to buy it but spend way more than what you want to spend. In order to store value, agents or people need to trust monetary policies so that the prices will be stable. And they need to trust that third parties will hold funds and that you are able to, liquidate those funds. So to withdraw those funds, in this case from a bank or from a financial institution. So you need to trust them to store your money, and you need to trust them that they will have your money when you need to withdraw it. So these are some properties, some current properties of how money works nowadays. But what I want to really focus on is money is nothing more than a language. It's just a way that we have to communicate with each other so that we can transmit value, so that we can agree on prices, so that we can do commerce. This is for me, most important feature of money. Any money. Currency is a type of money. It's not money, okay? This is important to understand. As cash. Cash is just, a type of money. It's not money itself. So now we're going to speak about organizations, how our organization structure, and this is very, very important to understand a bit forward how the blockchain works, and the differences between digital peer-to-peer cash or money, digital peer-to-peer money, and traditional fiat currency. Fiat currency, it's basically either paper money or digital money, like euros, GBPs, dollars, whatever it is. So first, I'll speak about governance and then about the infrastructure. So governance, it basically just dictates how companies are structured. Most companies are centralized nowadays, like banks and financial institutions, corporations, mostly any company. Bityond is a centralized company because I am the owner and I have the power to make all the decisions. Okay, so it's centralized within me. I'm the guy who makes the decisions. And this is how most companies exist. Then we have decentralized companies. So we can have companies that are geographically dispersed among many regions, okay, and where the decision making can either be on the top still or can be distributed among some people, some users, or some people who make decisions, basically. And then we have the distributed, the types of decentralized organizations, which are kind of important to speak. Sorry, I was going to forget that. A very easy example is Wikipedia, which is a crowd organization. So everybody contributes to Wikipedia. You don't have an owner. You don't have a guy who goes there and says, "Oh no, this is wrong. I'm gonna, write it off." Well, you have a group of people who can do that. It's peer review, basically, by the whole community. And these types of organizations where the governance, the decision-making is decentralized among many people, these are the decentralized organizations. Finally, on the last one, we have distributed organizations. These are a bit more complex and newer types of organizations that are only possible to exist because the blockchain technology exists. So it's a type of organization that exists within a distributed ledger technology with economic incentives. I'm going to speak a little bit about this in the next couple of slides. An example of this organization is the DAO. It's a distributed autonomous organization. So it's an organization where everybody contributes the same and everybody has the same type of rewards. Well, it can have different roles, of course, but everything is distributed among all the peers equally. So this is important to understand. In terms of infrastructure, companies can be centralized and have a cloud infrastructure, meaning that they have a decentralized infrastructure, but governance is still centralized, okay? Or not. They can have all the servers centralized within their geographic location, and that also works. Then you have the DLT, which is the distributed ledger technology, which lives between the decentralized governance and the distributed infrastructure. Okay, so governance means how people make decisions, and infrastructure means how servers, nodes are, located, if they're within a region or dispersed. Okay. Now, digital peer-to-peer money. So, how can we have money on the internet? Currently, we already have digital money. It's not peer-to-peer, meaning that I can send money to her, to you, or to you, but I need to use a bank. I need to use an intermediary to send my money to you guys. I could use cash if we're just from face-to-face, but if I want to do it over the internet, I don't have any other way without a bank account. Okay? This is important to understand. So, what the blockchain and Bitcoin does, and this is the first lesson I want you people to understand, and this is very, very important. There's no blockchain without Bitcoin. One cannot exist without the other. There's a misconception that companies want to use the blockchain and not Bitcoin. It is not possible. The blockchain, the actual Bitcoin blockchain, you need the Bitcoin. Okay? So, how does it work? It's very, very simple, I think. So, you just need distributed ledger technology, meaning that the information is spread across many people, many nodes, many computers. And you need an economic incentive to make it work. It's as simple as this. So in order for the blockchain to work, you need people, miners, doing proof of work. So the only thing that they're doing is validating transactions. And they get an economic incentive for validating transactions. That's why you do not need an intermediary validating all of your transactions. You do have an intermediary, which are the miners, so the people who work within the network. Okay? So this is how it works. There will always be intermediaries, but on this case, the intermediaries belong to the network. They participate in the network, and they are rewarded with Bitcoin, which is the currency of the specific network, to make it work. So governance, it's completely distributed among everybody. So I'm going to give you a quick example so that you understand how the blockchain works in terms of governance. We have the developers, the people who develop over the blockchain. So they make Bitcoin improvement proposals, which can be either accepted or rejected by other developers, by miners and by users. So then we have miners, are the people who validate the transactions. They kind of like are the bank within the blockchain. So they're just the people making sure that the Bitcoin you're sending is valid and it's true. Then finally, we have the users, so the people who actually use the blockchain and Bitcoin to transact, to send value to each other, or to store value. So all these users have the same power because, developers can develop, but without miners, it doesn't work. Miners can mine and they can, validate transactions, but if people don't use it, they don't get any reward because there are no transactions. And users can only use the blockchain because it's developed. People, developers take care of it, and miners validate transactions. So it's an ecosystem that needs every peer to work, basically. That's why it's distributed among everybody. All right, let's move forward. There we go. So, the blockchain. As you can see, the blockchain is literally just a chain of, blocks. It's distributed ledger technology with economic incentives, as we've seen previously. So, each block contains transactions. Okay, this is what the blockchain is. It's a chain of blocks, and blocks contain transactions. As simple as that. Each transaction is basically some Bitcoin that I sent to somebody or that I received from somebody. It's very simple, right? It's not that complicated. The way that validation works, it is complicated. It's validated cryptographically, and this means that there's cryptography. The information is basically I forgot the word. It's hidden basically, so that you can see it, but you don't know to whom it belongs to. Okay. So that's why the blockchain works and why it's transparent and why anybody can just look at it and see which transactions happen. You don't know to whom that address belongs to, but you know that the address X sent some money to the address Y. That's it, and that's all you need to know. Everything is verified and it is transparent and you can see it. So the purpose of the blockchain is to store transactions. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's move forward. All right, network innovation, and I think this is very important, so that you guys understand why distributed system or decentralized systems in terms of governance are usually better for innovation, or why innovation happens much faster at decentralized, governance companies or systems or whatever you want to call it, basically. So, centralized systems, innovation happens at the core. I'm going to give you an example. So, in Bityond, if I want to, create a new feature, I create it and I deploy it. So users don't have a say. I have a say. I decide what's best for everybody. In decentralized systems, the opposite happens. It's not the company who makes the changes, who makes the decisions. Rather, the users are the ones doing it. So in a decentralized system, me as a user, using, for example, the blockchain, I can propose a Bitcoin improvement, and the community can either accept it or reject the proposal, the improvement. So it's the network, on the outer of the network, the users who make the innovation. It's not the company, because nobody owns it. So nobody can propose it, only users. You can have distributed innovation both in centralized and decentralized systems, okay? It can work for both, because you can have, for example, a centralized company with the completely, decentralized infrastructure, but the innovation still happens within the company, within the person or the people who own the company. So I just want to differentiate between how innovation works within basically centralized companies and decentralized companies, because it is exactly the opposite. Okay, and this is very important in the future, so that you can see that if everybody is able to contribute, innovation happens much faster than if only one people or a very limited group of people are the ones deciding or proposing those innovations. So now, and this is important to understand, which network type might be better for innovation to happen. Either smart networks or dumb networks. So I think usually people think that a smart network is much better than a dumb network, but usually that's exactly the other way around. So a very simple example, the internet is a dumb network. It means that the only thing that the internet does is to grab packets of data that people send across each other. It converts the data into bytes and sends it across, okay? It doesn't take into account if it's a message, if it's a video, if it's a picture, it doesn't really matter what it is. It just grabs information, converts it into bytes, sends it across the channel. That's it. This is how a dumb network works. So if you look at your phones, they're very, very smart. That's why they're called smartphones. You can run applications, do calculations, have pictures, videos, whatever you want. It's like a mini computer, right? So the network, it's very, very dumb. It's just the internet, sending packages of data. Your phones, the devices are super smart. You can run mostly anything on them. In the past, it wasn't like this. I'm going to give you a very, very easy example, I think, so that you can understand it. So, do you guys remember those, old phones, really old phones that you had, like, to turn the digits? Those phones were really dumb. The only thing that they did was connect to a very smart network of people connecting you to some other location. So the network itself was very smart. The devices, the phones, were dumb. So they could only connect you to that person, or that office, or whatever it was. it couldn't connect you to the guy that you wanted to speak to. So, you see, this is the key difference. So, smart networks nowadays, you can relate them to, for example, Facebook or LinkedIn or Google, which are companies that are basically centralized. So innovation happens at the core, and then it propagates to the users. With dumb networks, like the blockchain or the internet, as I explained, it's exactly the other way around, because users are the ones with the power to make those changes to the dumb network. So they make innovations, and the network, for example, the blockchain, converts everything that you send into a hash, into a string of bytes and code, and sends it to some other person. The Bitcoin is just a message. It's literally a message. Okay? So this is very, very, I think, very important to understand, and we'll see why. If I ask you, how, and which type of system, you expect innovation to happen, at a faster pace or at a faster rate, you can clearly see that dumb networks, decentralized networks, is where innovation happens, at a faster pace. Although we don't think that. We think like Uber, oh my God, they're so disruptive, or Facebook or Google, they're awesome. Yeah, they are. But if you look at the other side, those other guys that are decentralized, it's even better. Because innovation, I can assure you, it's going to happen way faster. Finally, decentralized distributed ledgers. So now I'm going to speak about two different types of distributed ledger technology, or two different types of blockchain technology. We have the decentralized ones and the centralized ones. Something that it's key to understand, it's very important, which is one is not better than the other, meaning a decentralized, distributed ledger system with economic incentives is not better than a centralized one. It's just different. So the purpose of it, it's for people to exchange value. A centralized one, probably it has a different purpose. I will speak about it in the next slide, about Hyperledger and some distributed ledgers that are owned by companies, and they do have a purpose. They're for businesses to being able to use a blockchain technology, okay, without the information being available for everybody, and that can make sense. So, first, the decentralized ones. There are some properties that you need to have for a system to be a decentralized distributed ledger with economic incentives, so a blockchain technology. So it needs to be peer-to-peer, so there cannot be intermediaries. It needs to be immutable, so that's why when we say that a transaction happens on the blockchain, it cannot be reversed, okay? And this is a feature, it's not a bug of the technology. It needs to be secure, obviously, and needs to be censorship resistant, meaning that you cannot get censored. Anybody on the world can send transactions to any other person. No one needs to ask for permission, so it's also permissionless. It's distributed, as we've seen, because it's distributed among every node, among every person that wants to have the blockchain running on their machines. It's trustless, and this is very important, because I do not need to trust the person I'm sending Bitcoin to send the Bitcoin to them. The network validates the transaction, so I do not need to trust the person. I need to trust the network, how it works. Finally, it's transparent because, as I said, anybody can go into the blockchain and check which transactions happen and at which point in time. So there's no way for anybody to, to hide their transactions. If you've done something and if you've shared the address with other people, they will know what you did at what time. They can check it. Now we're going to speak about the centralized ones, which are mostly used. Which are mostly used for businesses. So, obviously, some properties are very similar, although some others are completely different. So, they're also peer-to-peer, immutable, and secure, okay, for the same reasons, but they are censorship invulnerable because you need to ask for permission. So, the permission and they're censorship vulnerable, because they can block your actions within the network. Because it's owned by a company, if you want to do something they do not approve, you cannot do it, okay? For example, Facebook, for example, and Google blocked cryptocurrency ads, right? So if I wanted to post an ad on Facebook about cryptocurrency, now I couldn't because I do not respect the network rules. So it's, censorship vulnerable. People can block you from doing stuff. And it's also private, so it means that the information is hidden and you cannot check it, only if you have the permission to check the information, okay? These differences are very key to understand the purpose of things. So the blockchain and this technology only has one purpose, which is to allow for people to send money over the internet. Now, other people are building over that technology so that we can create smart contracts, and we can create functionality that allow us to transfer more stuff than money. Okay? We can now create shares, we can now create fungible items like, you know, any collectible if you want. We can create mostly anything over different types of blockchain like the Ethereum blockchain. And this is key because we're now able to actually digitalize over the internet any type of asset. It doesn't go through an intermediary, it goes among us, among the peers, among the people. And this is very important. This is the purpose of this technology, I think. So you're not obliged to use it. If you prefer, you know, traditional fiat money, use that. I mean, it's just another option for you guys. It doesn't have borders, it doesn't have a geographical location, it's not owned by anybody. I mean, personally speaking, I see it in the next couple of years, maybe 5, maybe 10 years. I go to a coffee shop, and if I try to pay something with cash, people will laugh at me, say, why are you using that? Are you crazy? You can just have money on your phone. Why use that? It's much better. I mean, if in a couple of years, one day, maybe in 10, 20 years, if I have a kid and I'll take him to the bank and I explain to him that he needs to give his ID, he needs to wait from 9 to 5 to transact money. If he wants to do it over the weekend, he can't do it. People will look at me and say, this guy is crazy, man. This guy is insane. Why is he using that? You can just send money over the internet. Just do it. And this is the advantage. I'm not saying it's better or worse, but you have an alternative. And I think an alternative is always better. So, oops, let me just, there we go. So, yeah, thank you. About my, my startup and why I focused this presentation on cryptocurrency. Bityond is my company. I founded it, and what it does, it's something very, very simple. It matches candidates' skills, so your skills and your experience, to jobs. So companies create jobs on the platform, and candidates, instead of looking for jobs, like a job portal, sending your CVs to them, you just go to your dashboard after you create your profile, input your skills, and then you put your experience. You go to your dashboard, and you can see which jobs match that experience and those skills that you have. So you do not need to look for jobs. Jobs come to you. The exact same thing happens for the employer, for the company creating the jobs, as they get a matching list of candidates who have the skills they are looking for that specific job. It's very good because companies can either recruit on the entire network, or if they are medium to big companies and they have loads of employees, they can use the platform to manage people within their organization, so they can create private jobs available only for their own employees. It's very cool for managers to just manage employees by skill and experience. So why was I explaining cryptocurrency and why I'm adding cryptocurrency to the platform? So what we're doing in Bityond is something very, very simple. We're basically decentralizing governance. So we're creating our own token over the Ethereum network, and with our token, users, while they use the platform, while they create skills, they add skills to their profiles, they add information, they get invited to jobs, to organizations, to projects. Any action that happens within the platform will entitle users to tokens for free. Users don't pay anything to use the platform. Candidates, of course, employers will pay, otherwise we wouldn't make any money. And that is important because I need to live. But users, candidates, will also get tokens for free, and they do not pay anything to use the platform. With those tokens, they can sell them for Ethereum, for Ether, within the Ethereum network, and make actually money out of it. And again, they got them for free, just for sharing their data with us. Sorry. Or if they do not want to sell these tokens, they can hold them, and they will have a purpose within our platform. With the tokens, we, the team, will make suggestions to everybody in terms of what new developments should we do. A mobile app maybe, an interview module maybe. Users are the ones who decide everything. We just make suggestions. Because you have tokens, you can vote. Okay? They'll give you the power to vote within the platform for new developments. And if you really want those developments to come to life, you can donate tokens to the team, and each new feature will have a price in tokens associated to it. Meaning, if you donate enough tokens, and if you fulfill the tokens that we need for a certain functionality, we'll develop it, make it available for everybody within the platform, within Bityond. Meaning that now you are actually kind of like owners of the platform, because the governance is also decided by every user. Now the team does not have the power to make decisions on our own. the users will also contribute and will be the key contributors to any development that we want to make within the platform, within Bityond. If not, if they want money, they can sell the tokens, which they got them for free, and make some cash for themselves. Absolutely fine. If not, if they want to, participate in the governance, in the decision making, they also can. So this is the initial purpose of the tokens. Okay, I don't think there's any other recruitment platform that offers this to users nowadays. Maybe in the future there will be, because if we start doing this and you don't get anything for participating in other recruitment networks, why should you participate in them? This is the whole picture. If you're sharing with us your data, if you're helping us grow, without users we're nothing. So we need to give you something in return, and this is what we give you: the opportunity to participate in our network, or the opportunity to make some cash for yourself. That's it. Okay, as simple as that, I think. So this is Bityond, a skills matching platform for recruitment or talent management. And now we're incorporating this cryptocurrency, this token, within the platform, so that people can get a benefit out of using Bityond, more than just finding jobs. Okay, so I think this is it. I don't think I have any other slide. Please check our website. Our ICO initial coin offering, will start on the 15th of May to the 15th of July, meaning that we'll basically be looking for investors. You don't need to participate. Tokens, as I said, will be created afterwards, and just by using the platform, you get them for free. Obviously, if people want to participate and fund us, help us get some funding, absolutely fine. You also get tokens. On this case, 1 Ether will give you 100,000 Bityond tokens, which is a lot, of course. And you can just hold to those tokens or sell them in the future. So this is basically my project. I hope it was clear enough, and I gave a nice and easy presentation, not only about cryptocurrencies, but the purpose of applying cryptocurrencies to your own business in the future. If you give more to people, they'll give more to you. As simple as that, I think. Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thanks. Anybody has questions about the platform or cryptocurrencies? Anything, guys? No? Super clear? Nice. One question? Sorry?
I don't know if we have to speak English. Is everybody Portuguese right here? Do you have to speak in English? Well, anyway, there have been some recent...
Can you put the closer?
Some recent news on the papers about CMVM not being able to cope with your decisions on... Can you say something about
it? Absolutely. Okay, I have this one. It's fine. Thank you. Thank you so much. So that's a very, very good question. Thank you so much. Yes, that is true. Because of our initial coin offering, the Portuguese Exchange Market Commission did spoke to us about what we're doing, not in a bad way. They did not block anything. I think that might be the wrong idea. They just wanted more information. They want some help to understand what can be done and what cannot be done. They need some help creating a framework for other companies. This is what we're trying to do. This is what we want to do, to help them create a better framework for other businesses. Because this will happen with Bityond, either here or abroad, doesn't matter. The point is, we want to keep the company in Portugal. I want it to be here, okay? It's my country, so you always have, that connection, right? But we also want to help the Exchange Commission to create ruling and to create some, some protocols for companies being able to raise money via cryptocurrency if they want to, okay? And this is very important. They're not blocking anything. They're just, I think, asking for help. And I think I agree. I think that makes sense. And since we are the first ones doing it within Portugal, they contacted us. And I think that's absolutely fine. Thank you for the question again. Hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, we'll reach consensus. And the ICO, again, as I said, will happen on the 15th of May. We did have to change the purpose of the token. We were supposed to pay dividends in the beginning, but if we did pay dividends, then this token would be considered a security. And that is absolutely correct. So we had to change that and take out that functionality. Okay, so it's just an utility token. We won't pay any dividends. We won't pay anything over the token holders, okay? This is important to understand. In the future, we might will, if legislation, if the protocol gets easier to adapt to that. Obviously, the more that we can give to users, the better. I think, like distributing money evenly, it's better than has having everything. So, thank you for the question. I think I answered it, right? Cool. Any other questions from you guys? Any up?
Thank you. A lot of great people with great roles in society stated that Bitcoin is a matter of time until it crashes. Do you share the same opinion? And if not, why can you be so secure that it's not going to crash?
Okay. Do you remember the internet bubble that happened probably 20 years ago? Do you still use the internet? Did it matter? No. In the long term, obviously that's what's matter to me as a user. In the long term, it doesn't matter. This technology won't go away because you cannot stop it. More people will continue to use it like they just did with the internet. I don't know if you try to look for news from the 2000s, you'll see many people saying that the internet is a scam, that you'll get busted if you try to purchase things online, that it's just fraud, you get your credit card stolen, and that did happen, Everything happened like that, People got their credit card stolen, that information stolen, it was a problem, but then it improved, it got secured, and now anyone that I know buys stuff online, I send stuff from Amazon to my place, I don't know, it's obvious, it's simple, and I prefer to do it online and just going to like a shop and having to physically be there, it's easier, right? This is the same with blockchain, I think, with this technology. So now it's used for bad things, but cash is also used for bad things, right? It's not only this, okay? So yes, it might be a bubble, it might crash, it might, but it won't disappear, so it will go back. And this is, in my personal opinion, of course, this is what will happen with, the blockchain, with any technology that appears, Even 3D printing had the same, the same graphic if you look at it. Basically, it was a hype, 3D printing is going to change the world forever. Okay, it went up and then crashed a little bit, companies like, within that market. It will go up again, obviously, in the future. My point is that everything is a cycle, and we cannot expect things just to go up, up, up. It will crash and it will go up again. But the technology itself, it will remain here, it will exist, I think. It won't go away. But thank you for the question, it's a quite good one. Yep.
Just as curiosity,
yeah.
In which stage do you think Bitcoin it is? It's still rising or it's about to crash?
No, it's definitely still rising. I mean, well, if you look at, for example, market cap, so how much Bitcoin is, how much the entire cryptocurrency market is, it's worth nowadays. I mean, it was close to 1 trillion in December. Now it's only what, 400 or 500 billion. I mean, it will go up. Like the stock market, like the new exchange, the asset stock market for shares and stuff like that. I think it's worth what, to 24 trillion, something like that. I mean, it's insane. So it's not even 1 trillion at this moment. So I think it will go up and up and up. Now you have different things, making the price going down a little bit, like, for example, the futures market, which controls the price a little bit. And if you look at past examples, like gold, silver, and some other commodities, like cereals and stuff like that, the futures market, what basically does, it stabilizes the prices, okay? This is what's happening now with Bitcoin. I think one day Bitcoin will just break that and it will continue to grow and rise. Eventually it will go down again, and eventually it will go up again, like everything else in life, basically. So if you're asking from an investor's perspective, yes, you can still make money out of it. If you just wait for it to crash a bit, buy on that time and sell it when the price is higher, you make money. So from an investor's perspective, yes, I think that it's still a possibility, of course. Thank you. Any other questions or curiosities, comments, anything? No? So, guys, I think that's it. Thank you so much for coming. I'll be over there in the Bityond stand if you have any questions or any comments or anything. If you want to know more about the project, please visit us there. Or just visit the website. It's not there anymore. It will be in a second. And, any feedback, comments that you have, email me, pedro.febrero@bityond.com. Anything that you want to know, I'm super easygoing, as you can see. So just contact me, and I hope I can, answer your questions and help you guys. Thank you so much for being here today. Thanks. Thank you.